Hello, hello, hello. Gonna hop on. Something in my hair tonight. What you got going on there? Disgrace. Hey, Terry. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello. Hello, hello. Good evening from Idaho. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Has been active. Thank you for liking the live. I appreciate that. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hello, hello. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. If you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. Paul from Michigan. Welcome. Sorry, I've had it in my throat chakra all day. Not sure what's going on there. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Hi, I'm from Florida. Is it Mike? Hey, Jim. Yes. Okay, cool. Welcome. All right. I'll get a few more on and then I'll get started and then you'll all know why I'm here if you're not familiar. Hello from Arkansas. Suzanne, welcome. I'm feeling well. Thank you. How are you, Jim? I'm bummed that my dog broke my good glasses because these are stronger. I need to get a different pair. They're almost too strong. Hey, Wayne. How are you? All right, guys. Well, it looks like we got quite a few on, so I'm going to get started. So if you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. I'm glad to have you here. I started my TikTok in March. The reason why I started my TikTok is because on September 14th of 23, my husband decided to unalive himself. That's when I discovered I have these abilities to talk to my guides and to channel people. And they led me to my path and my true purpose in life, which is to help other people through their traumas. Sure, hold on. Is it Nick? And so that's why I started my channel, my page, whatever it's called. I'm here to help others through their traumas and uplift others. So if you're lonely, you've lost somebody, you're in need, this is a good community for you. Is it Nick? Thank you for the follow, Pamela and Mike. I appreciate that. George from Virginia, welcome. So when I go live, I get my topic from my guides. Tonight's topic is, are you overriding hurts? And I'll shout you out, but I just want to make sure that's your name. Is that your name, Nick? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Anna from Nebraska. Hey, how are you? Sorry, I got cats chasing each other. They'll probably come flying over my lap before long. Sorry, I got a message. I was trying to figure out what that was. Didn't recognize it. Okay, so I'm going to get started. So, Spirit, give me the topic. Like I said, are you overriding hurts? So that's what we talk about here. We talk about feelings and we talk about loss and we talk about trauma and all of that entails. So anyway, so Spirit says how to break that wall, right? So you have a wall up and you're overriding whatever's hurting you. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Sorry, how am I trying to read the chat here? Comments. Dropping fast. I'm used to it. All right, guys. So, have you ever trained yourself to push down your emotions? That was a question that Spirit wanted me to ask, and I got cats jumping all over the bed chasing each other. Anybody? We're not shy here. I guess I always forget. So I have 2 rules. We don't talk about politics because there's a million other pages out there that you can talk politics on. This is about healing and uplifting others, so we don't talk about politics here. And 2, we agree to disagree. I am on my journey in life where I am, and you are where you are, and we're all not going to agree on everything, so we agree to disagree. And all I ask is if you can't do that, you hop off and keep scrolling. OMG, that's my specialty. Pushing down. Oh, yes, this is a perfect topic for you, Katie. Sorry, I didn't even... I wasn't targeting you, I promise. This is what Spirit gave me. So you should be... Okay, so we're going to talk about how do we break down those walls of yep, you're numb, right? So that's what we're talking about tonight. And Spirit wants me to say specifically, stop it. I actually got that. Stop it. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, so I just want to bring this up real quick before we get too far into this. You'll take any advice? Okay, well, thank you for the follow, Karen. I appreciate that. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. So before I forget, real quick, guys, and then we'll hop back to the topic. And chime in anytime. We're not shy here. This is like a public forum. So this morning, I go to get in my car. I leave about 4:30 in the morning for work. And I go to get in my car, and Karen from Massachusetts, welcome. And I get in my car, and I look over. Ouch, I had my arm twisted. Sorry. Look over on my passenger side seat, and there sits a feather. Hi, Marie. How are you? Missed you, girl. Ow, I twisted my arm when I was holding my phone, apparently. Now it hurts. Anyways, and there's my cat, right on time. And so, yeah, so I look over, and there's a feather sitting on this seat. Okay, now, I live in an apartment building, for background. I live in an apartment building, and we have pigeons everywhere. So outside, there's feathers everywhere. But it was so funny because it was just sitting there, like it was meant for me to find it there. There was nothing else on the seat, just a feather just sitting there waiting for me to find it. Yeah, let me back up. Karen, meet Katie from Boston. She's one of our regulars. Ouch. Sorry, I really twisted my arm. I'm I'm good at hurting myself this week. So anyway, so I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to ask my daughter, make sure she didn't pick up a feather anywhere and put it in the car before I jump to any conclusions. And so I go to work, and I have to wait a couple hours because it's early and I knew my daughter wouldn't be up yet. So I wait a couple hours, and I text my daughter, and I said, by chance you didn't pick up a feather and put it in the Yukon, did you? And she's like, no, Mom, I didn't. Well, that's funny. There goes my ear. And she goes, well, and then a few minutes later, she texts me back, and she's like, Mom, this is crazy. You're not going to believe what happened. So she sets her coffee pot to a certain time, so it kicks on and makes her coffee in the morning. And my ear's going nuts. I know you're here, I know. So anyway, so I just get done texting her, and she's telling me, she texts me back, and she's telling me about how her coffee pot, she thought, great, she didn't get up until like 8:39, and her coffee pot was supposed to come on at 7:15. If you could shower anywhere, where would it be? Okay, I have no clue. Anyway, so she proceeds to tell me that the coffee is hot, like it just was made. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, that's weird. And I told her, I said, well, I'm pretty sure your dad left the feather for me. And she's like, do you think dad did the coffee too? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. And so about 2-3 minutes after my daughter texts me, I can hear Daryl tell me, he goes, tell Sarah she's welcome. He pushed the coffee button, and I said, so this is my husband who is passed, if you're not familiar. And so right after he said, tell Sarah she's welcome, I was like, you did the feather too, right? And he's like, you bet I did. Anyway, just a little story from the other side. So if you think that they're not around you, if you don't think your deceased loved ones are around you, you're mistaken. You're just not. These loved ones are around you, you're mistaken. You're just not paying attention. Anyway, so back to the topic. I just wanted to talk about that tonight because I thought, what a cute little story. So, but he's really good about, so my husband loved like dad jokes, right? And so one night he sent me a message from my son, and my son's name is Jacob, but he always called him Jake. And thank you for the follow. And so one night, so I was on the phone with my son, giving him the message, what his dad wanted him to know. And then at the last second, being in typical Daryl fashion, Daryl says, he goes, and tell him he'll always be Jake from State Farm. Because that's what he used to call him, Jake from State Farm. Does his voice sound the same? I hear it differently. So, yes. Yes, I guess for me, yes, it is. With him. Not with everything. So it's hard to explain. So I don't see him per se. In my dreams I do. I hear him. And Daryl does sound the same when he talks to me. Like I hear him all the time say, hey, sweetie, because that's what he used to call me. And I hear him say, hey, sweetie. But like when certain other people talk to me, it depends on who it is. I hear their voice, and sometimes it's like a thought. It's hard to explain unless you've never went through it. But with Daryl, I actually hear it. Like I hear him say that, like he'd be talking to me. Yes. Anyway, way off topic. Sorry about that. I just wanted to share. I thought that was cute. So anyway, so Spirit says, have you trained yourself to push down your emotions? You should be good at this topic, Katie, then, right? So do you push down your emotions and feelings just to keep going? Spirit asks. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. And if you're not familiar, my name is Renee. I'm from South Dakota. Welcome. Yes. Okay. And this is where I think I did a video on this, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So Spirit had me do a video. It's been a while back, I think, where we're talking about sometimes we make ourselves busy. And we were talking about this a little bit last night, too. Ohio, welcome. Where sometimes we just not so much make ourselves busy, but we distract ourselves, right? So, I need a good distraction so I don't think about this. Okay, well, here's the problem in that. Where that lies is that sometimes you need to deal with it. You need to not distract yourself. You just need to let yourself feel that. So, this just popped in my head. So I'm the way it popped in, and I don't know how to explain this unless you've ever dealt with Spirit. But Katie, this message is for you. Because Spirit just said to me, ask Katie, when did that start for you, Katie? When did you start pushing stuff down and becoming numb? What is your trigger? And I'm sorry that we're going to use you as the guinea pig tonight, Katie. or anybody else that wants to pipe in, welcome too. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. Are you still there, Katie? Did you go to sleep on me? I know it's late on the East Coast. And she's been on pain meds, I'm guessing. She just got out of the hospital. Katie, are you still there? Maddie in St. Paul, welcome. Glad to have you here. So if you're just hopping on and you're not familiar, tonight's topic is, are you overriding your hurts? In other words, have you trained yourself to push down your emotions and your feelings? It's safe to stay numb. If you love and love someone so hard, you feel pain. Everyone leaves sooner. Oh boy. That's a lot to unpack. And I know you've told me that before. Everyone goes sooner or later. Okay, so let me ask you that. So apparently, let's back up the train a lot, right? Let's back up the train. So somewhere down the line, somebody left and you said, sorry, I'm switching hands because my wrist hurts. So somewhere down the line, somebody left, and so you just decided it was easier to not open yourself up, to put that wall up, because after that person, you just assumed, I'm going to say assumed, that everybody after that was going to leave you too. Am I correct? And I am not judging. Trust me. After Daryl left, I put up a huge wall because I felt the same way. I really did. I was already dealing with abandonment issues. She's right. Soon, that everyone leaves eventually. It doesn't have to be sad. Well, I mean, everybody leaves eventually because eventually they die, which energy never dies. So I don't believe people actually die. They just basically, they leave this life and go to another. But that's neither here nor there. Either past failed me or hurt me so hard. Okay, well, you can't blame them if they passed, right? And people failed you. Okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second, okay? Don't hate me. That's just how I am. Okay? Don't hate me if I play devil's advocate for a second, Katie. So let's scratch out they either passed, because obviously that's out of their control, right? Oh, well, we all have that's if they're adult children, that's just norm. I'm in and off and on with mine every other 3 days. So that's normal. Whatever normal is. Let's flip it. Okay, yes. I'm gonna flip that on you real quick. So when you say they failed you, I'm going to bring up two scenarios. One, I don't want you to hate me. I'm literally just playing devil's advocate because I'm trying to get you to change that perspective just a little bit. And I'm sorry I'm shaking. So when you say they failed you, do you ever feel, just a question, do you ever feel that you failed anyone? Just a question. In your heart of hearts, did you ever fail someone? Okay. All the time. All right. Now I'm going to back it up again, if it'll let me, so I could read the rest of your, or hurt you so bad. Okay. Let's stick to the failed one for a second. Okay, so you said you failed them, or you have failed someone. Okay. So if we're flipping the perspective, just a little bit. We all fail somebody at some point in our life. Am I correct to say that? Because we're human. Okay, we don't talk about politics here, Chief. I apologize. That's one of my things. So I just ask you kindly, if you can't not follow that, then I have to boot you, and I don't want to do that. I have failed frequently. Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to get my point across here. So they failed you, but you've also failed maybe them or someone else. Yeah, I'm with Maddie. Give an example. You forgive, though. Okay. Now remember, forgiveness is for you, not for them. Correct? We all know that, right? Raise your hand if you know that. Forgiveness is for us, not the other person. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. So I'm going to throw in, and I don't like to use this as an example because I don't know if I necessarily agree with it anymore. Gypsy from Pennsylvania, welcome. Became like that in the divorce. Okay, and so you would say you failed each other. Is that a fair statement? Just asking. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. So I thought of a new perspective where I don't have to use something that I don't necessarily agree with anymore. But okay. So let's flip this now. So let's say you go into a new relationship, Katie. Okay. And you know that you had failures on your part during your divorce or your relationship. Okay. You believe we're all capable of failing somebody. Correct, because we're all human, right? Okay, so you go into a relationship, and let's just say, like I said, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a second. You're the one that failed in that relationship. Let's just leave the other person out of the equation for a second, because now you're entering into a new relationship, right? So that other person's not in the equation at all, just you and a new person. Okay, are you following me? And you had plenty of failures to go around in your previous relationship. So now all of those failures that you had in that relationship, let's say you just squashed, right? You're like, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to jump into this other relationship, and I'm just going to put that other stuff under the rug that may be my failures, right? So now you're in this new relationship with this new person, and all of a sudden, all those failures from your relationship before start coming out from under the rug. Do you know where I'm going with this by chance? If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from, and I promise I'm not laughing at you. So now all the failures, all of the maybe bad habits that you had in your previous relationship are starting to come out from under the rug because you didn't deal with those yourself, right? You shoved them under the rug. And they're coming out to this new person in the new relationship, right? Which in our true life scenario would be you, right? But we're flipping it for the time being. We're going to flip it. And so now you're in this new relationship, and all of these these things that you didn't deal with from your previous relationship, you're bringing into the new relationship because they're coming out from the rug, whether you like it or not, because you didn't deal with them. And this new person's like, whoa, 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 slow up the train here. Apologize for the cat. Slow up the train. What is happening, right? And now all of a sudden this new person is having to deal with your junk, we'll just say. Okay? Is that fair to the new person? Just asking. Did that make any sense? Did I get my point across? Anybody? No, you didn't get my point. So let's flip back the scenario. So you have your wall up, right? Because the person that you were in a relationship had a bunch of junk and they failed you. Where and just previously we were talking about you failed before and you were bringing all those failures into the new relationship. You got the point? Okay. So there again, so there's my point. Trying to play devil's advocate and reminding always to just change our perspective a little bit, right? So is it fair to put your wall up completely? So say you have this wall, right? And you're keeping everybody at arm's distance because of what this person over here that's now long gone did to you. You're projecting what this person over here, which is gone, you're divorced, they're gone, never to be seen again. And you have this new person over here that you don't even know at all. And you're, hey Danny, how are you? And you're projecting what that person over there onto that person. Is that fair? Asking for a friend. Hello there. Hi, Danny. How are you tonight? No. Right? So you have this wall up and you're protecting yourself from something basically like the boogeyman that doesn't exist. Does that make sense? Right? So in your eyes, everybody out here is the boogeyman from under the bed. But you don't even know those people. The boogeyman doesn't really exist, but yet you're projecting that everybody's the boogeyman. I've been good, Danny. Thank you. Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Do you get where I'm going with that, Katie? No, I've never seen that movie. I'm not a big TV person. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. I think like I said, you just have to come to a point where you have to realize that not everyone out there is not that person that failed you. And so that's what I was trying to get you in that scenario that we were talking about, is that, you know, when you flip it, you're not always going to be that person either. I don't know if I'm talking in circles. You're afraid of the unknown. And but that's with anything in life. Am I wrong? There's different combinations in different people. Exactly. And here's the thing is, being afraid of the unknown is fine, but that's anything in life is unknown, right? You could get in your car tomorrow and it's unknown if you're going to get in an accident and die. You know, you can go to bed tonight and it's unknown whether you're going to wake up in the morning, accident and die. You know, you can go to bed tonight and it's unknown whether you're going to wake up in the morning. Everything in life is an unknown. Okay, so let's move on a little bit and talk about what Spirit wanted us to talk about. Oh, sorry. I'm getting messages. I had some stuff on Marketplace. Free floating fear. Okay, and were you on when we were talking about fear? Right? Fear is of the ego. And so a lot of times what we are fearing doesn't even exist. It's just your ego telling you, right? It's like somebody that overthinks all the time. It's your ego telling you, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. Whatever it is that your mind tells you, right? To put that fear in you. It's just your ego talking. So you have to learn to override your ego, because you can have fear about anything. Like I said, you can have fear about stepping out your door in the morning that you're not going to make it home. I mean, fear and the unknown apply to everything in life, literally. I got a cat that's trying to dig his way out, I think. Does that make sense? I mean, literally every day you get up, it's the unknown. It's deeper than that. It's fight or flight every day. Okay, so there again, I believe you have to go back. Where did it start? You have to go back and pinpoint, where did that start? Who was the person that let you down, let's say the most? And you have to work your way through that. It's at your foundation. Is that what you're saying? I mean, here's the thing. Yes, okay. You can go through life being afraid that everybody is the boogeyman and never get close to anyone because they're the boogeyman, because that's what your ego is telling you. They're going to let me down. They're going to fail me. Whatever it is that the ego is trying to tell you. Or you can go to the other side of your brain, which is the right side, which tells you, that's about love and compassion and grace, and not go into a different relationship with no expectations. That's part of our problem in life, is that we have an expectation, right? It's like, oh, I can't wait to go on this trip, because in your mind you have this expectation of how wonderful it's going to be, right? And I used to do this, literally. And I would be so excited. I would have this expectation in my head how this trip was going to go. And then I would go on the trip, and not that it was a bad trip, but I would build it up so much in my mind that to me it was a letdown to go on that trip. Instead of just going into it with no expectations, no fear, no whatever, just go, be present. That's another thing. And it's all linked. Being present. If you're there present, enjoying every second of what is going on, relationship, trip, whatever, with that person, just being present and not thinking 5 steps ahead. How is he going to hurt me? How is he going to hurt me? How's this person? I can't be friends with this person because they're going to hurt me. They're going to let me down. You're putting that expectation in on that person, which is not fair to them, first of all, because you don't even know them. You're putting that expectation on them. Do you understand? And you pick addicts. Well, that's part of your problem. That's a pattern, which we talked about last night. How do you break that pattern? Right? It's all roll of the dice. Exactly, Wayne. Exactly. And what I'm trying to say is every time you walk out of your house, every time you get out of your bed in the morning, it's a roll of the dice, right? It's a roll of the dice you're not going to fall down the stairs. It's a roll of the dice you're not going to get in a car accident. It's a roll of the dice that, somebody ain't going to take you out. Getting out of your bed every day is a roll of the dice. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. Am I making any sense here, Katie? But I honestly, it's at your foundation. You got to go all the way back. And I'm just going to make a guess here just because I have pretty good instincts most of the time. And I could be way off here. But this goes way back before, if you're saying it's part of your foundation, this goes way back before any relationship you ever had, except for maybe with your parents. Is this a childhood thing? I mean, no, you're not nuts. You're not nuts. I guarantee over half of the world has the same issue. But to me, it stems back before you're addicts. Somehow, possibly, if it's at the root of your foundation, it goes way back to your childhood. And there's obviously a reason. There's a reason and why you have the pattern of picking addicts. And my guess would be, just because I have pretty good instincts, that starts in your childhood too. So you have to go back to your childhood, unless I'm wrong. I could be wrong, just taking a guess. But if I'm right, and you got to go all the way back and figure out the root. It was a neighborhood thing. It was the hustle, chaos, blah, blah. But I'm right, am I not? It goes back to your childhood. But you've got to go back to the root of the problem, right? You're the tree. You got to get down into the roots and figure out, okay, because it's a trigger, right? There's a trigger there somewhere that started there and you're one of your roots, and then you started that pattern of picking the addicts, which I'm going to take a wild leap here. The addicts let you down. Surprise, surprise. Anytime you're with an addict, they're going to let you down. And I've never personally been with one, but I've dealt with them. You missed that piece last night. Well, we only talked about it briefly, but hold on, let me flip back. But yeah, Spirit wanted to talk about, we talked about that, but it was just very brief about patterns, right? And how do we break the chain? How do we break the pattern? The pattern started for you in your neighborhood when you were a child. And then the only way to break that pattern is you got to go all the way back. You got to go back to the root of the problem. Okay? And figure out, where did that trigger start? Because that's when, and then you carried that into adulthood, like we've talked about many times. This is so common. Everything is linked to everything. So now you're in adulthood, you turn 18, and now whatever that trauma trigger, whatever happened to you in your root came into adulthood, and it doesn't stop at the door because you turned 18. So then you started picking addicts. Now, did you pick them on purpose because you already had the expectation that people were going to let you down? So if you picked an addict, you automatically knew they were going to let you down? Just a thought. Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about that. But does that make any sense? So that's where what we've talked about, that's where we've talked about before, and that's where the shadow work comes in, because you have to go all the way back and basically pull all of that stuff that started your trigger out of the shadows and start dealing with it. Because that's the only way you're ever going to be able to let that wall down. You have to go back and you have to get rid of that trigger. But like I just said, my instincts tell me you picked the addicts on purpose, because whatever, you can't go there. Why? You can't go there, or you won't go there. You understand what I'm getting at? You won't. And as long as you won't go there, you will never be healed. And you'll probably continue to pick the addict, because my guess is you pick the addicts on purpose, because you already have that expectation in my head that if I pick the addict, he's going to let me down. Because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're manifesting it. You already have that expectation in my head that everybody lets me down. So you're purposely picking the addict who's purposely going to let you down. Just saying. That would be my guess. That's why you have a pattern of picking addicts. Because somewhere in your childhood you were let down, and so if you continue that pattern, then one, you're giving your ego the satisfaction of saying, see, I told you everybody lets me down, because you purposely are picking the addict that you know is going to let you down. So you're giving you're feeding your ego. Just saying. Sorry. Because that's what we do. And that's what I'm saying. You pick those people because then you can feed your ego that, see, everybody lets me down. You're purposely picking those kind of people because that's how you feed your ego. And the only way you're ever going to get out of that pattern is you have to go back to your trigger and get out of the ego and get to this side, which is love. The ego is the left side of your brain. You have to get to the right side of your brain where it's love and compassion and grace. And you think you can fix them because that's part of the childhood trauma. You become a fixer. That's part of the pattern. I can fix them, even though you know deep down you can't. But you're picking those people because you know they ultimately will let you down so you can feed your ego. So you have to choose either, and that was our topic from a couple nights ago, to heal or to stay unhealed. It's a choice, unfortunately. Or fortunately, however you want to look at it. If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. Anybody else got anything they want to add? And I know you say you won't, but I don't know how you can fix your pattern unless you go back and deal. You have to deal with whatever that trigger was that started you on the everybody fails me and started the ego going, okay, so now we have an expectation for everyone that everyone's going to fail me. So I purposely pick these kind of people because then I know they'll fail me. So here was some things that Spirit wanted me to talk about. Obviously the shadow work, what we've talked about before. Like I said, you have to go back and you have to pull those things out of the shadows and you got to deal with it. One of the ways you can do that is journaling. I'm all up in your feelings. Is that good or bad? I'm just trying to help you, sweetie. I seriously am. And you know I'm here for you. That's good. Okay. So here are some ways that we talk about all the time, right? Shadow work, pulling those things out. I love you too. Journal. Start journaling about it. Little by little. Baby steps, right? That's what everything in life is baby steps, right? One foot in front of the other. Maybe today I journal about whatever it was back then that you're so afraid of. Because there was a big boogeyman back there. And I don't know what that is. But I can tell because of how shut down you've been. Thanks, Katie. But start journaling about it. And you know feelings are going to come up. Whatever you need to journal about. And you got to deal with those feelings. That's where the shadow work comes in. Okay? Start journaling about it. Here's the second thing. As humans, we have free will. Okay? And you have angels and you have guides that are there to help you. But they can't help you with everything because we have free will. But if you ask them to help you and to guide you, then they can step in and help you on a lot of these things where with free will they can't. Okay? You're not in this alone. I see Wayne's still on here. I'm pretty sure Wayne's here. I'm here. I don't know if Danny left. But we're all here to help you. Right? All right? Self-love. If you have a bad day, see, Wayne just said he's here, right? Wayne's helped me on a lot of hard days. Self-love is crucial during that time. Okay? My cat's trying to get out and he can't, and I'm not going to open the door. So we're just going to have to tolerate him for the moment. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. If you're just hopping on, tell me who you are, where you're from. Self-love is going to be crucial during those times. Give yourself grace. You're journaling. The emotions come up. The moment. Remember how we talk about that? Have that moment. Don't unpack and live there. Have the moment. Cry it out. Sob it out. Scream it out. Whatever it is you got to do. Go hit something. However you deal. Right? As long as you're not hurting someone else. Don't hurt yourself. Have your moment. Don't unpack and live there. Hop out of that moment and do something for yourself. Whatever it is that makes you feel good. Right? A hot bath. Plan a massage. A walk in the park. Whatever it is that is self-care for you. Okay? So remember those steps, right? Pull a little bit out at a time of the shadows. Feel it. Have the moment. Self-care. Lots and lots of grace for yourself. Okay. Anybody else? Is Katie even still here? If you're just hopping on, tell us who you are, where you're from. Anybody else got anything else they want to talk about? Or need to vent about? Anybody? Did she hop off? I can't tell. Hopefully she didn't fall asleep. Anybody else? Nobody's going to talk to me tonight. Okay, guys. Well, it looks like we're getting close to that hour mark. If nobody else has anything else they want to add or talk about. I'm still breathing. Wait, it's still there. Thanks, Danny, for that. I appreciate that. Did you catch all that, Katie? Okay. One step at a time. Breathe. Thanks, Danny. And he is still here. So yeah, just lots of grace. Take it one day at a time. You know, today I can deal with it. Tomorrow I can't. So don't deal with it tomorrow. No, you didn't hold us hostage. This is what we do here, Katie. And you're one of us. So, like I said, you know, today I feel like dealing with it. So today I journal. And I have some moments and I deal with it, and then you do some self-care and give yourself lots of grace. Tomorrow comes, I can't deal today. Don't deal today. The next day, I can deal today. Do some more journaling. Baby steps. All right? See, Danny says you're fine. You are fine. That's what we talk about here, girl. That's what we're here for. All right, guys. Anybody else have anything else they want to add? And we all love you. And we're all here for you. So if you need us, you know where to find us. All right, guys. Anybody? All right. Well, if nobody else has anything else they want to add, I have to do my shameless plug, or I get in trouble from Spirit. Okay, so y'all know I have a YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, I would really appreciate you subscribe. It's Scorpio Medium. If anybody here is interested, there's Mike. Hey, Mike, how are you? If anybody's interested in having a channeling session, hug, sweetie. I hope your pain is doing better, by the way, too. We'll talk tomorrow, okay? Keep in touch. So if anybody's interested in a channeling session, you can go to my email channel. Hey, Mike. It's on my website here because it won't let me put it in. Or you can go over to Scorpio Medium and find it, which is scorpiomedium74@yahoo.com. Please, that's only used if you would like to book a channeling session, not to tell me that I'm hot. I would appreciate that it's only used for that. Just a side note. Anyway, so there's my shameless plug. Anybody else have anything else they want to talk about or add real quick here? Pushing my hour mark. Anybody? Okay, well, on that note then, going once, twice. All right, I hope y'all have a great night. Remember, always show yourself grace. Life is tough, and it's tough for everybody. Remember to make tomorrow great. It's a choice. And I hope y'all have a great night, and I'm going to say until we meet again.